Once you begin to sense your why, something uncomfortable follows. Awareness creates responsibility. You can no longer claim ignorance. You see the distance between who you are and who you are capable of becoming, and that distance asks something of you. This is where many people hesitate, not because they lack potential, but because they underestimate the cost of alignment. Purpose without discipline remains an idea. Insight without structure dissolves into frustration. You may understand yourself deeply and still live in ways that contradict that understanding. This inner contradiction is exhausting. It drains energy, creates quiet guilt, and slowly erodes self-respect. The unconscious notices every promise you break to yourself, even when you consciously try to move past it. Friedrich Nietzsche observed that a person who cannot command themselves will eventually be commanded by impulses, moods, and external pressures. Discipline in this sense is not about harsh control. It is about inner order. It is the ability to align your daily behavior with your deeper values, especially when your emotions resist. Most people misunderstand discipline because they associate it with punishment. They imagine rigidity, denial, or a joyless existence. But discipline, at its core, is an act of self-respect. It is the decision to take your own life seriously, to treat your time, your energy, and your attention as something valuable rather than disposable. Without discipline, the persona takes over. You do what maintains appearances. You choose comfort over growth because it keeps anxiety at bay. Meanwhile, the shadow grows stronger. The neglected parts of you, the unrealized strengths, the suppressed ambitions begin to surface as irritation, envy, or self-sabotage. What you refuse to confront consciously will express itself unconsciously. Discipline brings these forces into relationship. It does not eliminate desire or resistance, it integrates them. You learn to act in alignment with your values even when instinct pulls you elsewhere. This is not repression, it is maturity. Think about the promises you make in private, the ones no one else hears. To wake earlier, to focus, to take care of your body, to create rather than consume. Each time you honor one of these commitments, something subtle but powerful occurs. Your psyche registers coherence. Your words and actions begin to match. Self-trust grows quietly. Each time you ignore them, the opposite happens. Not dramatically, but internally. You teach yourself that your intentions are negotiable. Over time, this creates an inner fracture. You may still appear functional or even successful, but inwardly, you feel divided. Discipline heals this division by restoring integrity. Nietzsche teaches us that self-overcoming is the central task of a meaningful life, not the domination of others, but mastery of oneself. This mastery is not built through intensity, but through repetition. Small, consistent acts of discipline reshape identity far more effectively than occasional bursts of motivation. Motivation depends on mood. Discipline does not. It allows you to act from values rather than feelings. This is why disciplined people often appear calm. They are not constantly negotiating with themselves. They have decided who they are becoming, and their actions follow that decision. There is also a quiet loneliness here. Discipline often separates you from familiar comforts and familiar identities. You may outgrow certain environments, conversations, or habits. This separation can feel like loss, but it is also refinement. Growth often requires leaving behind versions of yourself that once felt safe. If you notice resistance arising as you listen, pause with it. Ask yourself where you have been avoiding responsibility for your own alignment, where you know what is required but delay because comfort feels easier. This is not a moral failure. It is a human pattern. Becoming conscious of it is the beginning of change. Take a moment to reflect honestly. In what area of your life do you feel the tension between who you are and who you could be? If you feel willing, share that awareness in the comments. Not to perform or impress, but to articulate it. Naming the conflict often weakens its hold. Discipline also clarifies desire. Many people believe they lack motivation when, in truth, they lack direction. When your actions serve something meaningful, effort feels purposeful rather than draining. You stop asking why this is so hard and begin understanding why it is worth it. This does not mean you will never falter. You will miss days. You will lose focus. You will fall back into old patterns. Discipline is not perfection. It is return. Each return strengthens your capacity to realign. Guilt weakens you. Recommitment strengthens you. Notice how avoidance exhausts you more than effort ever does. Procrastination carries a unique fatigue. Discipline, while demanding, carries dignity. At the end of a disciplined day, even if nothing extraordinary happened, there is a quiet sense of order. Your inner world feels less chaotic because your actions reflected your values. In Nietzsche's view of human development, chaos itself is not the enemy. Unconscious chaos is. Discipline does not eliminate chaos. It gives it form. It channels raw energy into creation rather than dispersion. This is how potential becomes character. Over time, disciplined living reshapes identity. You no longer depend on external validation because your self-respect comes from consistency. You trust yourself because you have evidence. This trust becomes the foundation of resilience. When challenges arise, you do not collapse into doubt because you know how to show up. You begin to see that discipline is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more fully yourself. Removing distraction, refining focus, allowing your deeper values to guide your behavior. This is where self-investment becomes real. Not through grand plans, but through daily alignment. Each disciplined choice is a quiet vote for the person you are becoming. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, your life begins to feel less fragmented and more intentional. If something in this spoke to you, don't rush past that feeling. Sit with it for a moment. Notice where it touched resistance, or recognition, or discomfort. That reaction is information. If you're willing, name it. Share in the comments the area of your life where you feel the gap between who you are and who you know you could become. Not for approval, not to impress, simply to make the conflict conscious. Articulation weakens avoidance. And if this kind of reflection matters to you, if you want space to think more clearly, live more deliberately, and understand yourself at a deeper level, consider subscribing. These conversations are for those who are no longer interested in noise, but in alignment. Return here when you need clarity. This channel exists to support the work you're already beginning,